Honored guests, please join us in standing as the DSU Concert Band and DSU Chorale presents our national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, I now declare the investiture ceremony of President Scott Molander open. I am now pleased to introduce Dr. Holly Grucke, Dickinson State University Provost and Vice President of Academic Affairs.
Good afternoon. Please join me in expressing our appreciation for the fine performance of the DSU Concert Band during the processional march, in addition to the band and chorale's presentation of the national anthem. Awesome job. And thank you to Tim Daniel, our senior faculty member, for opening our investiture. Thank you, Tim. Please welcome Monsignor Thomas J. Richter to provide the invocation. Monsignor Richter is a priest of the Diocese of Bismarck and serves as pastor of Queen of Peace Catholic Church here in Dickinson. Monsignor.
Dr. Molander, they clap easily. That's a good sign. Congratulations to you. I promise you my daily prayers. Dr. Holly, thank you for introducing me. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the gift of authority. Today we invest President Molander with that gift. May he always exercise it for the good of others, for the thriving of this university, and in service to the truth. As our 14th president begins to carry out this weighty responsibility, we beg you, Lord, to fill him with wisdom so that he may never lose sight of our ultimate end, with prudence so that he may make decisions that are good and right for the here and now, and fill him, Lord, with goodwill, the bridge builder of relationships, so that our beloved university will always have the friends, supporters, and allies that she needs to carry out her noble mission. We ask this through your Son and our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen.
President and First Lady Carolyn Andretti Molander, elected officials, members of the North Dakota State Board of Higher Education, members of the North Dakota University System, honored guests, esteemed faculty and staff, Dickinson State University students, parents, and alumni, ladies and gentlemen, and Blue Hawks. Welcome to the investiture of President Scott Molander as the 14th president of Dickinson State University. Dickinson State began in 1918 to serve the region by providing high-quality, accessible academic programs to prepare individuals to lead and serve. We are pleased to welcome a new president to help Dickinson State University continue living our mission and preparing students for success. We have with us today many special friends and honored guests, and I would like to acknowledge some of them at this time. Please stand as I introduce you. I would ask the audience to please hold your applause until all of our special guests have been introduced. First Lady Carolyn Andretti Molander and their daughters Maggie and Sarah. Our local, state, and national government delegates in attendance. Our emeriti faculty in attendance. I see you, you better start standing. There you go. You can't hide in the back. Presidents and delegates from the North Dakota University System and other institutions of higher ed. I also see you. Thank you for being here. At this time, I would like to introduce the platform party. I ask they stand when I call their name, and please hold your applause until they have all been introduced. Danita Bai, member of the North Dakota State Board of Higher Education. Brent Sanford, Commissioner for the North Dakota University System. Rich Wardner, representing the City of Dickinson and DSU Alumni Association. Gerard Hansen, special guest, friend, and high school classmate of President Molander. Larry Havlick, special guest and friend of President Molander. And the man of the hour, Scott Molander, President of Dickinson State University. At this time, I would like to invite a few of our guests to present greetings on behalf of the constituents they represent. Representing the City of Dickinson and the DSU Alumni Association, Mr. Richard Wardner, who we refer to as Coach. Rich Wardner lives in Dickinson and served as a Senate Majority Leader for the North Dakota Legislature. He is a former Executive Director of the Dickinson Area Chamber of Commerce and a retired educator in math and science. Mr. Wardner obtained his bachelor's degree at Dickinson State University and his master's degree from Northern State University. He and his wife, Kayleen, are proud supporters of Dickinson State, so please welcome Rich Wardner.
Well, thank you, Holly, and it is a pleasure to be here. And I know that I was told that I only have so much time, so I'm getting going because I got a lot of time, things to cover. Chancellor Sanford, President Molander, platform guests, faculty at DSU, the support staff at DSU, the students at DSU, and guests. You're all very important in this time as we move forward and move this university to a new level. This is the beginning of a new era in higher education and Dickinson State University. Sam Milanovich, who was a coach, basketball coach in the late 80s at Dickinson State, who I assisted and President Molander played basketball for in the late 80s, had a saying after going through a losing tough times and a losing streak. He always said, "The worm will turn." Dickinson State has had its share of rough times over the past years, financially, morally, and morale-wise on campus, and other issues that seem to find DSU. Couldn't hide from issues. We always had issues. For a period of time, it seemed like the song they used to sing on the TV show, hee-haw. If it weren't for bad luck, we'd have no luck at all. Well, I believe that's going to change, folks. The new leadership of the university system, and I'm talking about Brent Sanford, and I'm also talking about Brent Molander, Dickinson State University president, are individuals that were born and raised in western North Dakota. And there may be people that question the fact that they don't have a PhD. Well, I'm here to tell you that these people have been very successful. They left the state of North Dakota. They did great things. They were successful. They come back home. They came home to make a difference. They have a PhD. It's an experience. And they know how to treat people with respect. And they know how to help people be empowered. Well, I believe that things are really going to change, and they understand personalities, and yes, they understand a lot because they've seen a lot. Yes, the worm has turned. President Molander, the community of Dickinson and Southwest North Dakota are looking to partner with DSU in developing young people to become a part of our community, developing job skills of all types. But ladies and gentlemen, we need people trained in the fine arts, the medical, the nurses. We need people with leadership skills. And most important of all, we need secondary and elementary teachers. You know, one of my biggest concerns is who's going to develop and train the next generation of our young people? And I say that because of the mental issues, the mental behavioral issues that we have in our schools. We need dedicated people, and they need to be trained right here. President Molander, in your presentation to the community during the hiring process, you made this statement: we need to have a career path forward for all students, no matter their course of study. And I agree with that. The community likes that you have a vision for all students. All students. What is so encouraging is that you have lived it, developing and operating a multi-million-dollar company from scratch. Now you have an opportunity to work with the community of entrepreneurs. And I'm going to mention them because they are the partners. They want to know the president. They want to know you, the faculty. They're very interested in what you're doing. TMI. TMI is a big furniture company in Dickinson. Do you know where it started? 7 people working in a cabinet shop. Steffes Corporation. Steffes Corporation started out building church furniture on the south end of Dickinson with a few employees. Today they've got plants in Grand Forks and the Carolinas and in Texas. Baker Boy. Baker Boy started as a family bake shop in downtown Dickinson. Today, they are selling product all over the United States. We also have a company called the Funshine Express, which does pre-school curriculum for preschool schools. You know how that started? The dad threw in $100, the daughter threw in $100, and now you have a company that is sending curriculum at least to 4 or 5 states in the area to preschools. This is a community, President Molander, that breeds and breathes entrepreneurship. They're not just looking for skilled workers, but I'll tell you what they're looking for. They're looking for quality of life. They want quality of life. And it's great to see the band over there starting to grow. The next time we have an investiture, we want the band to cover that whole side over there. That's what we're looking for. You are important. So we need the fine arts. We need quality educators. We need quality parks and rec. And we need leaders with a vision. A vision. Not just managers, but a vision. I need to point out that we have been successful during the past 20 years for you, President Molander, to build on despite all the negative publicity. Yeah, we've had a lot of negatives, but I want to remind all of you, and especially the faculty, there have been some good things that have happened at this institution, and I would like to mention them. And we want to look to the future. First of all, we have the TR Scholars Program, the TR Center. We have a partnership with the public schools. DSU kind of bailed them out when they were pinched for place to put their students 2 or 3 years ago. We are involved in the Career and Tech Center. We have maintained academic rigor throughout all this negative time. Business department at DSU is a mainstay. There was a quick turnaround with the nursing program. That's a credit to people that made it happen. We have a competitive athletic program, and the rebound of the DSU Heritage Center needs to be mentioned. I want to make sure that you all know that it was a guy that we've lost that was responsible for that. And we appreciate it as an interim president. Alumni, Mr. President, are really kind of tired of some things. We're tired of answering the questions. Is DSU transitioning to a community college? Does DSU have a nursing program? Of course it's yes. Does DSU have a still teach math? Yes, we do. Does DSU have a music department? Yes, we do. Does DSU teach chemistry? Yes, we do. These are all things we're still doing, and we're going to get those majors back, and we're going to be moving forward. We want to be the prime university here in Southwest North Dakota, which not only covers North Dakota, but South Dakota, Wyoming, and Montana. I'm going to end with this little story. There was a superintendent in a small school around here. I'm going to call it All-American High. I won't tell you what school it was. And over the years, they were getting beat. They would get beat in football by huge margins. And he would say to his colleagues in the other schools, what should we do? We're getting beat 45-0. We're getting beat 30-6. And it went on for 3 years. And they said to him, Jim, build yourself a program. I can't say it like he said it, but he had a real drag with it. Going forward, over the next 2 years, they worked hard and they changed things. And 2 years later, All-American High was winning 40-0, 30-0, 45-14. And they said, Jim, why are you beating us like this? And he said to them, build yourself a program. And so I'm going to leave it with that. We're going to build ourselves a program here. The community, the college, the faculty, the students, the support staff. We want to build ourselves a program that we're going to be proud of. Yes, President Molander, you're the person that can get it done. You are the team builder and coach. Why? There's a reason why. He respects people. He empowers people, but he holds them accountable. Thank you.
Our next speaker, Gerard Hansen, was raised on a farm southwest of Crosby, North Dakota. Gerard graduated from Divide County High School alongside President Molander in 1983, and they've been lifelong friends. I'm sure he has a few stories. After high school graduation, Gerard and Scott went to UND Williston to play basketball for the Tetons. They roomed together at Pop's house. The next year, Gerard transferred to UND Grand Forks and later graduated summa cum laude with a Bachelor of Science degree in mechanical engineering. Gerard married Denise Johnson of Williston, North Dakota on New Year's Eve in 1993 at Peace Church in rural Divide County with Scott as his best man. They have 2 daughters, Dana and Jordan, and 1 son, Miles. Dana is a DSU alum. Yeah, she got it right. Following college graduation, Gerard was commissioned into the U.S. Navy and served in the Navy Nuclear Submarine Force on submarines and ashore, until retiring from active duty in 1995. After 3 years as a nuclear training engineer with Westinghouse Electric, he relocated to the Twin Cities to work for Emerson Electric's Rosemount Nuclear Industries Instruments business. Gerard has been employed there for the last 27 years and has served as the Vice President and General Manager since 2015. During this time at Emerson, Gerard continued his education and earned an MBA degree from the University of St. Thomas. He also served in the U.S. Navy Reserve until retiring at the rank of commander. Please help me welcome Gerard Hansen.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here today. Thank you all for coming. This is a great day for Scott, great day for Carolyn, great day for Maggie, and a great day for Sarah. And it's a great day for DSU. You'll find that out in the months and years to come. I'm going to share a few things about Scott that I learned growing up over our 4, 5, 6, 7, not yet 7 decades together. But as the doctor mentioned, we grew up together in Crosby. We started to become friends, very close friends in grade school. 3rd, 4th grade, we shared a love of sports. We shared a love of the outdoors. We shared a love of farming, actually. And we started to watch the sports teams very carefully, and we would come to all the games, and we would sit at the top, and we'd buy the 5-cent bag of nibs and a little bit of free popcorn from Principal Redland, and we would watch carefully. And then we would usually go back to Scott's house, where Donna would have her homemade pizza ready, and we would drink Pepsi and eat pizza and talk about the game and tear it apart. And then Gary would come home, and Gary, lifelong teacher, lifelong coach, great person. He would come home, and we were hoping he did before we went downstairs, because then he'd start asking us questions about the game. And he'd say, what about that offense? What about that defense? Why didn't they cut him off? And just start making us think about how to play the game. And he was cleverly brilliant in that way. And so we started to think like basketball coaches from a very early time on. And we loved doing that. We knew all of the players up in our district. We knew the Grub boys from Tioga. We knew the Bowl boys from Bull Bells. We knew all the names. We knew the stats. And we started to think about what we might be able to do when it was our turn. So that was really, really fun. And then we played a lot of basketball out at the farm. And I'll share a story here because it's kind of stuck for the last 50 years. But our basketball hoop was a sheet of plywood on an old telephone pole with 2 braces on it. It was a little bit wobbly. And you would shoot, and if you tried to do a shot off the board, it would just fall to the ground. So we weren't very good with the board out there. And if you hit the front of the rim, it was loose because the wood was old, and the rim would come down about 6 inches, and then it would snap back and hit the plywood, and it would have this ba-domp sound, ba-domp. And then so a missed shot for the rest of high school would be a ba-domp. And so you would come back to the huddle, and he'd whisper, nice ba-domp. And we'd take it from there. But we'd usually come out okay. But then we would go downstairs, and we wouldn't go to sleep. We'd sit downstairs in his bed. He had the concrete walls. None of us were all that well-to-do back then. But he had sporting news taped up all the way across the walls. So there wasn't any cement. It was all sporting news. And Dr. J was prominent right over here. And so we would sit and review the games again down in his room, and 1, 2, 3 o'clock, we'd fall asleep and get up, and Donna would have something for us. Donna was my mom. I referred to her in the years since as my town mom, because I grew up in the country, and Donna was always there for us. Continuing on, through junior high, through high school, we still shared a love of sports and outdoors. And at 14, at this time anyway, you could get your farm permit. Who knows what a farm permit is? Yeah. And then I got my 75 Chevy half-ton pickup, rusted out fenders, 100-some thousand miles. He got his 75 Dodge half-ton. His was two-tone. He had orange and white. And then we went to work on the wheels, and we went to work on getting the Radio Shack stereo and the TRS-X 6 speakers in the back, whatever you could afford at the time. And then the 8-track. Who remembers an 8-track? And then we would cruise the country listening to Elvis. If you don't know what, Scott was and is a huge Elvis fan. So if you want to catch his attention, play Kentucky Rain somewhere in the background, and he might even sing for you. maybe don't do that. But we would cruise the roads, we'd check the crops, and we would talk sports, we'd talk girls, we'd talk everything that you talk about when you're 15. We'd shoot gophers. It was a great, great upbringing. And I loved every minute with him. It was so fun. And I would mention too that I don't know if you're into pickups at all, but the Dodge at that time had the vents down on the side. And the Chevys did too, but the thing about the Dodge vents at that time is they would hold up to 18 beverages. So you could put your water in there, or you could put your Pepsi in there, or whatever it is, you know. And we would drive around like that, but you don't do that anymore, so. And just to give you a sense of how closely we watch basketball and how in love we were in with the game, I told Scott before he came out here, I got a quiz for him. I didn't tell him it's in here, I just told him I've got a quiz for you. So now it's his time to shine, and here's the quiz. I want him to name the starting five of the 1980 Newtown Eagles Class B state championship team.
Damon Marset, Kenny Hall, Mark Fox,
Kenny Hall.
Cyril Chase, and who am I missing, Barry?
Barry Whiteout.
Barry Whiteout. There we go.
That's 4 out of 5. I'm okay with numbers, but that's 80%, and that's passing. That's passing, but that's good. And we worked hard, and we made varsity teams both in basketball and football a little ahead of schedule, and we were fortunate to do that. And then we ran into Mr. Barry Hagan, who's here with us today. He was our varsity coach, and he knew there was potential in the team, and it wasn't just Scott and I. There was a whole set of athletic talent that came through at that point. And he worked us hard, and he challenged us hard, and he expected a lot. And he got a lot, and he always made sense. He's a brilliant basketball mind. And so we were able to capture the 1982 state championship for the Class B basketball that year, largely because of Mr. Hagan. So thank you. And then Coach Fillion, who's not here today, was a football coach that came on in our mid-high school years too, and he was the same. He was a brilliant football coach, and he worked us hard, and he expected a lot, and he could see the potential. And so we were fortunate to get state runner-up in football for Class B the next year. We lost out to a Fargo Oak Grove team that was powerful. But those are two hugely influential people in our lives, and we're better for it. Then we kind of moved on to college, and we mentioned we went to UNDW together, and we played in the Tetons. We roomed at Pop's house, and all the Class A kids there got to know us as the Crosby boys, the Class B boys. And we were usually the pace setters, maybe not on the court, but off the court. And so they came to enjoy our company, and we had a great year. And then it was time for me to move on to UND and pursue some other things, and time for Scott to come down here and excel in athletics and in academics. And then from there, we've just kind of stayed in touch. But I'll tell you a story. Between our junior and senior years, we used to vacation down in Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. And if you remember, maybe some of you remember back in the 80s, that was the spot to be, especially on the 4th of July. And so we went down there one long weekend over the 4th, and we'd talk to people, and we'd say that they'd ask us where we're staying, because we were in town for 3 days. And we said we're at the Galaxy Motel. And all the locals said, well, we don't have a Galaxy Motel. And that's when we kind of said the rest of the story is the Galaxy Motel is the Ford Galaxy 500 car that he drove. And so we would spend many nights in that car with a full trunk and some snacks and just have the best time, and then we'd go our own ways again. Great memories. And actually, during one of those trips, a girlfriend that was with us at the time caught a picture of Scott on the public beach in Detroit Lakes, and he was laying out reading a book. And the book he was reading was The Art of the Deal. Now, some of you might remember who wrote that book. That was Donald Trump, and that was some time ago. But that was a little foreshadow of things to come. He was always thinking ahead and on the next things and what might be possible for him. So I always admired him for that. And then as it was mentioned, he was my best man in my wedding, and I was in his. And I think we can both say, I have full confidence in saying this, that Carolyn and Denise have been the best things that have happened to either one of us in our lives. So, thank you. And, you know, there are probably thousands of memories I could share here, but where I want to kind of direct this now is what does it mean today and going forward at Dickinson State? And these are some of the things I've learned about Scott over the years, and they haven't wavered. Mr. Warner talked about some of this too. I would say first it's his love and respect for family and the pioneers that came before us. He has a deep appreciation for the homesteaders, for the pioneers, for the folks that came before us, the struggles they went through to build the life that we have. It's been something I've shared with him, and he shared with me how deeply grateful we are for those that came before us. And his other is very, very fitting here is his love for North Dakota. As mentioned, he went away, and he went away for a long time, but he never went away. He would come back often. He would farm. He kept up some land on the family farm. And he kept a house. He bought a house next to Donna's house. So the girls could come and ride the ATVs and drive the tractors and spend some time with Grandma and Grandpa. Not many people do that, actually. So that's a testament to his love for the state. And he also has a fundamental kind of natural, like his dad and like his mom, a natural deep respect and understanding and belief in education. And education can take many forms. This is an academic setting. This is hardly the end of things, but it's one very important step in things. But he's a life learner. So you go from here and you get your theories and you start practicing them. And you start honing your skills and you start sharpening your saw and you never stop learning. And he has a deep appreciation for that. He also shares this with his dad. His dad was our teacher for many years. He taught history and some other classes. But Gary had a great heart for the kind of less fortunate or the underdog or the less popular kids. And he would seek them out and he would check their homework and he would ask them how their lives are going. And, you know, all the jocks or whatever you might think of, the popular group, Gary knew he didn't have to spend a lot of time with them. He would spend his time in the corners, and he'd make sure everyone was involved and engaged and knew his name and knew he cared about them. You'll see that with Scott. If you haven't seen it already, when you see him around campus, he will be seeking out people and meeting you. And he'll introduce himself, and he'll ask you a few questions about you, and he'll listen. And 2 or 3 months later, you might run into him again, and he'll remember. And over time, that type of relationship building innate ability is very, very powerful. So I can't wait for you all to experience that. And then I think the other thing I would start to close with here is his skill in a leader, his natural leadership ability, and certainly that's appropriate as the president of the university now. But here's some things I've seen over the years in my leadership roles through the Navy and through the corporate America and other experiences. I've been leading people now since I was 23, I guess. And the basic tenets of leadership don't change. It doesn't matter where you apply it. These kind of got to be there. And Scott has those. And the first is ethics and integrity. Your word has to be good. And you know, the common definition of ethics is how you behave and what you say when no one is looking. And Scott has that in spades. You'll never have to worry about anything in that area. Another thing you need is a work ethic and persistence. You just need to get up and get after it every day. And that might mean a Saturday, that might be a Sunday, that might be a Tuesday night. You keep moving, you keep driving. That's infectious. When other people see you do that, they start to do that too. You have to be able to network. You have to meet people at all levels. Walk with kings, keep the common touch, the Kipling poem. Scott's very good at that. And you have to be able to network, build relationships, and build trust. I think trust is something that this university will come to reap the benefits of for years to come under Scott's leadership. He's charismatic. He attracts people. People want to be around him. And that's something you're gifted with or born with. And when you have it and you exercise it well, it's very powerful. And he does. The other thing you need is the ability to absorb setbacks. This university's had some setbacks. You adjust and you drive on. You learn and you drive on. And sometimes it's not always easy, but there's few straight lines in the world, right? The goal is there, you're here, you think you're gonna walk a straight line, you never do. It's a zigzag, and it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You keep going forward, and he'll demonstrate that. He also understands the power of teams. He's confident but not arrogant, and he understands kind of the right definition of success, where if the university wins or the team wins, we all win. It's not about him. It's about the team, the organization, and everybody in it. And you'll come to see that as well. And with that, you build a lot of loyalty, and you build a lot of trust, and you build a lot of credibility. And so you'll see that as the weeks and months and years go by here. So in closing, I do want to commend DSU and the higher Board of Education here for making a somewhat unconventional and maybe bold choice in the eyes of some of putting Scott in the president role. You won't be disappointed. I think the time is right for him. This is the right role for him. And you're in great hands, and the future of Dickinson State is bright. Thank you.
Thank you. Another special guest and friend of President Molander, Larry Havlick, brings a unique perspective and decades-long friendship to today's investiture ceremony. A Wisconsin native, Larry earned dual Bachelor of Science degrees in Business and Marketing from the University of Wisconsin. His career journey has taken him through Chicago, Dayton, and ultimately back to Indianapolis, where he's lived for the past 27 years with his family, thanks to a very persuasive wife and his longtime friend, Scott. Larry and Scott first met in the March of 1989 while working at a Foot Locker store, a chance encounter that sparked a professional and personal bond that lasted over 3 decades. The two were roommates twice during their early careers, once in Chicago and again in Indianapolis, sharing not only living space, but a growing passion for business and entrepreneurship. Larry worked alongside Scott at Lids for nearly 16 years, playing a key role during the company's formative years and growth. Larry rose to the role of Vice President of Information Technology and Facilities. His leadership helped scale the brand into a national retail powerhouse. Today, he serves as the Senior Program Manager for Flight Operations at Republic Airways, where he continues to blend his entrepreneurial roots with the operational enterprise to help Republic Airways soar, supporting flight operations and pilot development with the same passion and precision that defined his career. His deep connection to Scott and firsthand insight into his character and leadership make Larry a fitting choice to help mark this significant milestone in DSU's history. Please help me welcome Larry Havlick.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to begin by saying how grateful I am to be here today. I've known Scott for over 30 years. We've lived together, laughed, cried, shared countless life moments. He was best man at my wedding, and Scott and Carolyn are godparents to my daughter, Abigail. Cancer's touched both of our families, but through it all, we've grown stronger together and are lifelong friends. And I have to say, I never thought at a time I'd ever imagined that Scott, I'd be calling him Mr. President, so I'm going to have a hard time with that. So recently, I took a confirmation class with Franklin Covey on change management. And the instructor had a simple ritual. He'd shout, "Clap," whenever someone shared a life event, and we'd all clap in unison. It was a fun reminder that work is not just about tasks, it's about people and moments that shape us. So today, I'd like you to borrow that tradition, and let's celebrate Scott's journey. Whenever I say clap, you need to join me. So let's take a test and see if we can figure this out. Clap. Yeah, you guys are good. You've done this before. Okay, so I know some of this, I did have some things that Gerard talked about, so I'm trying to skip through those because it's kind of redundant. But I agree wholeheartedly with everything that he said. Scott is a very unique individual, but you'll find that he is probably the most genuine and infectious person you'll ever meet, and you just can't wait to talk to him the next time. At least that's how I feel. So right after college, we met at Foot Locker in Chicago at a Foot Locker training program. I'd been there. We're two young farm boys from small towns, Wisconsin and rural North Dakota, thrust into the bustle of really kind of inner city Chicago on the heyday of Michael Jordan and the Bulls. So we were living that life along with the Cubs. The Cubs were in the championship. A few months we rented a place, a few other trainees we got together, and then as we're standing in the kitchen ready to go celebrate my birthday, he said it was his birthday, and we, whatever, had to pull out our driver's license, and sure enough, we both have the same birthday. But he's a year older, so I always say he's the old man and I'm the young buck. So not long after we moved, and I moved to Indianapolis to my Foot Locker store, Scott earned his stripes as an assistant manager, and he also transferred to Indianapolis, and we lived together. After he advanced to store manager, he started to ask big questions like, why are baseball caps such a footnote in retail? And you know, his analysis of everything that he does, whether it's in life or in business, he tries to understand why. So why not capitalize on a booming market? Why not go after it? And that's what he did. His curiosity, Scott answered his one question. He left Foot Locker and opened the very first Hat World store. I missed a couple claps. Can we go back? That's okay. Around that same time, he met the love of his life, Carolyn, who has been his steadfast partner ever since. As Scott built Hat World, he convinced me over dinner in Indianapolis to join him. So I picked up my wife, my young son, and my 2-year-old daughter. We packed up for Dayton, Ohio, and moved with Scott for the third time into his house, where Scott and Carolyn hosted our family for a period of time. That's a good clap. So then over the next 16 years, we saw Hat World's evolution, countless acquisitions, and the birth of Lids, the brand, and its transformation of a global retailer with now over 1,000 stores. Scott then branched into sport uniforms and team equipment, a sector he's always been passionate about. Sports seems to be the theme here, by the way. So kind of keep that in mind, DSU. Scott never lost sight of what really matters, the people he worked with and the community he served. He always believed that work-life balance isn't a buzzword, but a necessity, and that employers who take the time to understand each person's needs, listen, and understand their goals would unleash fair engagement and innovation. When it was time for a new chapter, Scott turned to teaching. He shared his entrepreneurial spirit and real-world lessons at various colleges around Indianapolis, Indiana Wesleyan, Indiana State, and most recently Butler University, shaping the next generation of leaders in the same passion that built Hat World. Though every milestone, challenge, and triumph, Scott has been a brother to me. He cheered on our highs, offered insight at our lows, and welcomed families into his home. So today, as Scott Molander steps into his role as president of Dickinson State University, let's salute not just his achievements, but the values he carries from farm to fortune to academia. Integrity, curiosity, and commitment to people. Scott, thank you for modeling how leaders can drive change while staying true to what matters most. We'll all be better to have been part of your story, and we can't wait to see how you inspire the Blue Hawks next. Please join me in one final thunderous clap for Scott President Molander. Congratulations, my friend, and here's to your next great chapter.
Thank you. It certainly woke us all up, so great job. It is now my privilege to introduce Brent Sanford, Commissioner for the North Dakota University System. Commissioner Sanford began his career as an auditor and consultant for Eide Bailly, LLP, after graduating from the University of North Dakota in 1994 and obtaining his CPA. He later became the Chief Financial Officer of Transwest Trucks in Denver, Colorado, before moving back home to Watford City in 2004 to own and operate his family-run car dealership. Sanford's business acumen and community leadership led him to serve as mayor during a period of explosive growth, where he spearheaded major infrastructure and development projects. As Lieutenant Governor of North Dakota from 2016 to 2023, he played a key role in managing state-level challenges and chaired numerous boards focused on investment, energy, and economic development. He continued to apply his expertise through Sanford Consulting LLC and now serves as a commissioner of the North Dakota University System. Welcome, Commissioner Brent Sanford.
Thank you, Holly. I tell you what, listening to Coach Wardner reminds me of being in the Senate. And I want to be in Dickinson somehow, but I don't know if that's my next step or not. But you're so inspiring, Senator Wardner, thank you. And to hear friends of Scott Molander today, it's very touching. I can tell you he's doing a great job, and I look forward to seeing what happens in the future. So this is more about prepared remarks from the university system. This is the official part. So I am here to I better start in the right place. I am delivering greetings on behalf of the North Dakota University System as the Commissioner of Higher Ed. President Molander, you have already exhibited a passion for this institution and a willingness to collaborate on behalf of its success and the success of its students. I know you will take full advantage of opportunities to work with the colleges and universities that make up the North Dakota University System, as well as with the private sector, so that together we can create an even brighter future for the people and state of North Dakota. This is the future envisioned for higher education, a future in which Dickinson State University plays a vital role. Please join me at the podium for me to deliver the charge to the President. President Molander, today you are being charged to lead Dickinson State University. Your leadership will be integral to the future of success of DSU, this community, this region, and the state of North Dakota. I direct your attention and the attention of all gathered here today to the official mace of the university. The mace represents the authority of the university to carry out its mission, to award degrees to students who have completed their courses of study as prescribed by the faculty. Please ensure that the mace is appropriately displayed at every university commencement ceremony and appropriately used at other academic events. I would also like to direct your attention to the cane of leadership, which is displayed on this side. This cane is inscribed, "Enter to learn, depart to serve," the motto of the first president of the university, Samuel T. May. Each year, a new ribbon is attached to the cane to document and provide insight into the many important events that have taken place at Dickinson State University.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Sanford, for those remarks. As an institution of higher learning within the North Dakota University System, Dickinson State University relies on the guidance and support of the North Dakota State Board of Higher Education. With us today from the State Board of Higher Education is Danita Bai. Danita has been a business owner and leadership coach for businesses in science, technology, engineering, and manufacturing industries. She's previously worked as an angel investor and sales manager for Microtech, a medical device manufacturer, and in sales and sales management for Xerox Corporation, a global company best known for innovative digital products and services. She has a master's in transformational leadership. Please welcome Danita Bai.
Thank you, faculty, staff, students, and esteemed guests. I am honored to be here. And in fact, in Western North Dakota, we are blessed with a rare convergence of greatness. I grew up on the Triple T Ranch between Stanley and Newtown, lived in Minneapolis for 30 years, and then moved back here 11 years ago to a great North Dakota. Greatness. Dickinson State University is a beacon of academic excellence and leadership development. Next, we have the Theodore Roosevelt National Park, a living testament to resilience. And then we have the Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library, a center of civic reflection and bold vision, and all of that is here in southwestern North Dakota. So today we invest President Molander with the leadership of DSU. We recognize a steward who understands the power of place and the promise of people here in this region. His strategic vision, along with his commitment to cultivating leaders, will echo across our state and our nation. I was part of the search team that was involved with choosing President Molander. And I firmly believe that under his guidance, that NDSU not only can be, but will be a national treasure that will shape character, inspire action, and elevate the frontier spirit that defines North Dakota. I believe that President Molander not only has the leadership acumen, but the wisdom, the insight, the knowledge, and discernment for this next era of DSU. I am extremely optimistic that DSU becomes not only a treasure in North Dakota, but becomes a national treasure because of the work that you will launch in this next era. And so it is with that President Molander, I'm asking you to stand near the podium. Here is my instructions. President Molander, before officially installing you as president, Commissioner Sanford and I are pleased to present you with the university's official chain of office and presidential medallion. And this chain of office is emblematic of your authority and your responsibility, and the presidential medallion bears the university's seal. And so we ask that you wear the chain and medallion with the university's official presidential regalia on all appropriate occasions. By virtue of the authority granted to me by the North Dakota State Board of Higher Education, and in its name, I declare that you, Scott Molander, have been duly chosen to be the 14th president of Dickinson State University, and you are vested with all the authority, responsibilities, and privileges of that office. As you lead Dickinson State University, be assured that the State Board of Higher Education stands behind you with steadfast support. Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to announce to you the 14th president of Dickinson State University, Mr. Scott Molander.
Thank you, Commissioner Sanford and Board Member Bai. Appreciate it. I was told I was given an hour for my investiture speech. I cut it to 45 minutes. You guys good? It's okay. Also, thank you, Monsignor, for the invocation. Thanks, Coach, for the words. Gerard, Larry, thanks for keeping it clean somewhat. I know I'm going to get questions now, and people will corner me, but and a lot of people didn't know this, but every time they call him Senator Wardner, I'd go, no, Coach, no. And it happened in meetings, and I'm glad he's here because he's still coaching me now, which is fantastic. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm still pinching myself that I'm standing here today, that's for sure. I'd like to begin by acknowledging, obviously, the faculty here, which together we're going to do great things for this region and for this school. The staff and the students, the alumni and the community, and all the friends at Dickinson State for being here today. I certainly appreciate the trust the State Board of Higher Education and the entire DSU Search Committee has put in me, given the privilege of leading my alma mater. I can only imagine the discussion behind the closed doors on what happened there. They're like, really? We're going to go with a guy who sold baseball hats for a living? Oh my gosh. So, but the DSU community, I've been here about 100 days and everybody's been so welcoming. It's just been incredible. The support I've been given so far, hopefully I haven't made too many people mad yet. I know it's going to come, that's for sure. But the support has been overwhelming. And it's just been awesome. There's also some people who I wish were here, but God took them early. Several family members, my brother-in-law, who'd be making faces in the front row at me right now. I know he would be having a spitball machine. And my grandparents, who had a great influence on my life. Anytime you think you're having a tough day, just think about your grandparents. You know, they faced more than any generation has ever faced. And hopefully we never have to face everything that they did. Thanks, Coach, for being here today. It means a lot to me. Also, my father-in-law and my mother-in-law, who I wish were here today. Aldo and I were as thick as thieves, so I don't know how you can call it getting into trouble when you're with your father-in-law, Carolyn. But somehow I was always in trouble when I was with my father-in-law. Larry and Jer, you guys have been with me through thick and thin for most of my life. And those are the kind of friends you, I am emotional, but I also got a really bad cold. It's been kicking my butt for a couple days and allergies. Thanks to my mom, Donna, who's supported me in everything I've tried to do. Love you, Mom. The other person who I wish was here sitting next to Mom's my dad. As Jer said, he had a passion for success for everybody, and he wanted everybody to fulfill their potential, no matter who it was. I miss him every day. He was just somebody you can definitely look up to. My daughters, Maggie and Sarah, whose unwavering support and love are really incredible. Two fantastic young women who I'm very proud to call my daughters. I love you both so much. And of course, the most important person in my life, excuse me, we did this at our wedding day too. My wife, Carolyn. I know she's about to tell the story. Wait till you guys hear this story. Get about 2 glasses of wine in here and you'll never, yeah. Without her support and confidence, I wouldn't be here today, that's for sure. Since we met, she always forgets this day, but I never do, January 13th, 1996. Talking basketball, of course. But at least she liked basketball, so we had something in common from the start. I'd add a couple other comments about that day, but I'm gonna save those stories for another day. And they are funny, but thank you from the bottom of my heart, honey. And my final thank you would be to God for guiding me here today. I pray to him a lot, and he's brought me here, and it's fantastic. When I graduated from here 37 years ago, I think I did the math right, I don't know. The faculty here prepared me to enter the real world, and it was incredible. I had a lot of confidence when I left here. Except they didn't teach me about a toll booth when I got to Chicago. I was not ready. I literally went down there to the toll booth. I'm like, what do? I backed up, went up to McDonald's, got some quarters, went back down, and the cop pulled me over and he goes, what are you doing? And I showed him my driver's license. He goes, okay, I got it. But there is one faculty member I'd like to acknowledge, George Berger, who was my teacher here for only 1 year, and he helped co-found our company, and he was a phenomenal guy. He came from the real world and just gave me all kinds of confidence, and he helped co-found our company years later, and he was something else. But the one thing that has not changed here, And I can tell after being here for 100 days, the faculty that cared for me back then, they still have that same passion here today with this faculty here. I've seen it in many, many meetings, and they're all focused on the students, and that's why we're here. Because they really care about student success. And I agree with what everybody said today. We have such an incredible opportunity to help shape our leaders here for the future at DSU. And I know the faculty is ready for this. And this is the most important part of a young person's life, is right here and now. And DSU has been part of this community and region for over 100 years. And as a couple people have mentioned, the goals and the vision I laid out on March 27th in my day here during the interview process have not changed. The students are the why on why we're here, and we need to stay focused on them so they can turn knuckleheads like me into doing something worthwhile. Okay, we built a company that was built around culture and around family, and we're going to do the same thing here. And Gerard was right. I want to create a campus that's vibrant and has a passion for learning. I've always said the day I quit learning is the day my heartbeat stops beating. I know that's kind of morbid, but it's true. I just love to learn, and I love learning about new topics every day. We're going to be focused on providing education for all students, part-time, full-time, online, the traditional. I want to take care of everybody because education lifts all. We're going to integrate the campus with the community. We have many community members and alumni who are very passionate about DSU, and you can shape passion because passion is manageable. Okay, and I think together we can definitely move the region forward as an enviable place to live and work. Okay, I want to create a culture that everyone wants to be part of DSU. This is going to be the place to be. And we're going to focus on our people, and I will focus on taking care of all the people and our students. And we'll focus on meeting, the regional employment needs. That's our goal. That's our mission. And I'll be personally visible. And I know this seems like a short list, but there's a lot of activity here to accomplish these goals. And it's really, really important that we execute on these goals. A lot of people see this thing. I write on my board, strategy is a commodity, but execution is an art, and we need to execute. Finally, I think there's a quote from Teddy Roosevelt that I see often that I think sort of sums up my personal thoughts on the near future here at DSU. Far and away, the best prize that life has to offer is the chance to work hard at work worth doing. This hard work is worth doing, and you're going to get everything I have to give. Thank you.
Scott, this ceremony was about you, and we are so grateful that you are here leading us. Thank you so much. And on behalf of Dickinson State University, I am pleased to present you with a small gift to mark this momentous occasion. Congrats, President Molander.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wouldn't have been funny if we had that trap door from the play and somebody popped out. At this time, will you please rise and join the Dickinson State University Concert Band and Chorale in singing the alma mater. The words for the alma mater can be found projected on the wall to my left. Oh, they're not there. If you don't know them, just pretend. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. I would like to again recognize the Dickinson State University music program and their wonderful music contributions to today's ceremony. Thank you, Professors Hicks and Wagner. My sincere thanks to all who have joined. Yeah, we can clap for that. I'm good with that. My sincere thanks to all who have joined us this afternoon and evening to celebrate, and to all those who have made this day a special one for President and First Lady Molander and the university. As we close the ceremony today, I would ask that you please remain seated during the recessional, and please join us for the social at the DSU Student Center following the ceremony. Tim, it's your turn.
Ladies and gentlemen, I now declare the Investiture ceremony of President Scott Molander closed. Those in academic area can now recess, so please rise as we recess.